A very good afternoon to all of you and a very warm welcome to all the members of this session, session 2. We're talking about insights into the Indian steel trade. As the chair, I'll just introduce the topic broadly and perhaps draw your attention to some of the major issues that confront the steel trade practice in India, particularly the challenges that have recently surfaced. We heard quite a lot of that in the morning inaugural session also. I'll flag a few issues and then I will expect the experts who are part of this panel to either discuss those very issues or issues they want to introduce and reflect on some of the current trends. 6 or 7 points I thought I will flag right at the outset. The growing threat of trade diversion being the very first one. We've seen how Section 232, the whole global trade scenario, US proclamation, 25% duties on steel, the US advocacy to promote domestic steel for domestic consumption, and all the growing threats that have occurred since then. What is or what should be India's reaction? What should we look at not only from a national standpoint, but also from an industry trade point? One of the things we've been putting across to government, both in the Commerce Ministry and in the Steel Ministry, is the need for adopting a steel import monitoring mechanism in order that we should know what kind of imports are coming in, what are the import trends, which will enable domestic industry to both respond and react. A third item would be the need for correcting the surge of imports of coated steel products into India. These have increased in volume tremendously and are causing great pain to our industry overall. A fourth point is the complete exclusion of steel from RCEP and other free trade agreements. We had Mr. Acharya in the morning telling us in a very brilliant slide how the FTAs have actually done a great disservice to our nation. A fifth point would be the imposition of a fixed duty for all anti-dumping duties imposed on US dollars on a per ton basis, rather than on a reference price mechanism, which has now become outdated. A sixth point I thought I'd bring in here is, apart from looking at only the import scenario, the necessity to promote steel exports from India. How can we do that? A seventh point would be looking at now the removal of what I might call the lesser duty rule on trade actions, which has been with us now for quite a long time. Finally, I don't understand why we are still not reducing the import duty on coking coal and limestone. We have a tremendous amount of scarcity of these items in India, and I think duties on those items should be completely abolished. Last point, and this I thought the Commerce Ministry needs to register very clearly, is rather than look at the whole anti-dumping duty scenario all over again, it takes a lot of time for the internal mechanisms to work out. If we adopt the safeguards route and use the threat of injury principle there to engineer what you might call suo motu actions. And if that happens, then we could actually do far more than any other strategy. So I thought this could be a broad backdrop to the kind of trade actions and the trade scenario that's rapidly unraveling on the world stage. And it would now be my privilege to invite, first of all, to speak on any or other issues. Since Mr. Chaturvedi is not here, I would invite Mr. Christophe Devroy, First Counselor, Trade and Economic Affairs of the European Union.